I majored in graphic design and went straight into pharmaceutical sales. And when I had my children, I stayed home with them when they were babies, and I was in the middle of suburbia. And at the time, all these moms were staying home with their babies, and Martha Stewart was beginning to be like, you know, the home goddess, and we were all really into making our environment and our gardens and our homes just sort of our own kingdom. And I knew that I had a knack for color, and I began to really express myself in my home and started painting walls like crazy and creating colors. And people would always come up and say, oh, you know, how did you come up with that color? It's like, oh, I want some colors. And whenever we would get together, it was all about color and what wall we were going to paint. And you know, the decision-making process was crazy. At the time, you had 10,000 choices, paint chips, you know, nothing was easy. You couldn't go to a store and say, that's my color, and just go ahead and choose it and come home, paint it, and have it be right. So I started creating custom colors for friends and family. And as these colors began to go up on walls, the people's reactions were like, oh my gosh, this is exactly what I had in mind. They're beautiful. And as I began to create palettes, I thought, this is it. I know what to do. I know that I can actually create colors that can take a home and transform it with everything, the old, the new, the borrowed, and the true, because we live with complicated lives, with things that we can't get rid of, things that we love, things that we hate, other people that we live with. And so what was interesting was that I wasn't really thinking about coming out with a paint line, but one of the things that happened to me was a 6,000 square foot mistake, in which when I started doing this for a living and color consulting and making custom colors for clients, this painter took my color and mixed it in this paint, and it turned out to be absolutely hideous. It was like sort of a taupe that had like a lot of pink in it, and the finish was really greasy or sweaty looking on walls. It was terrible. So at that point, I understood that if I was going to make colors, I actually needed to create the product that the color was going to be in or on. So I started calling paint manufacturers around regionally, locally, until I found one that took me up on it. And Miller Paint, which is a regional manufacturer, at the time was looking for a magical product that would really resonate with consumers, especially women. So they gave me carte blanche. They said, whatever you want, we'll do it. And we launched this phenomenal, what we call now the Trend Proof Collection, which is 128 colors in this paint finishes that are like fabric. They're just rich and delicious, and you want to touch them when they're wet, you want to touch them when they're dry. And the paint really goes on like yogurt. And that's one of the things that I wanted to really impart, that if I was going to be able to paint, I wanted paint that behaved like what women really understood good products to feel like. So a good face cream, for me it was yogurt. I love creamy, rich yogurt. And I thought, that is what the consistency of my paint should be. Something that doesn't drip, splatter, smell. It's just delightful to put up, to actually play with. And thus we launched Devine Color in 2001. So, you know, the passion is what drives you, because you see that end goal before anybody else does, and you become so passionate at what you're visualizing and what you're seeing. But curiosity is what really takes you there. I mean, you see the end goal, and you have to ask yourself all the time, how am I going to get there? How am I going to help people understand this? It is so important to engage in curious behavior. And that just means you're going to have to ask a lot of questions. It means that you're going to have to go against what's status quo. You're going to have to question what is already considered the ultimate consensus or wisdom on a subject, because you really want answers that are not necessarily yet answered. And you look for those signs in your life that says, okay, well, what does that mean? And what if I relate that to this? And it's your own journey of curiosity. And trust me, unlike a cat, it's not going to kill you. Cats are not humans. They can't think. This is why curiosity kills them, but it doesn't kill us. We have this amazing, glorious brain that allows us to discover what we need to discover in order to make things happen. think the great advice that I would give anyone who wants to be an entrepreneur would have to be that it's not about really being an expert at something or really being really good at something. It's about a vision that you have and seeing that vision realized in your own mind. And then it's really about, how am I going to communicate this vision? And you do that by being able to engage not only your own curiosity, but also you really engage other people. You actually go out of your comfort zone and you start asking questions. You start looking for answers that other people have that will continue to reinforce the vision that you have, because ultimately that is the one thing that keeps you going when you get the no's, when you get the I don't believe you, or when you get, well, where'd you get that idea? It's like, well, it's only an idea until the vision is fulfilled, and then everybody loves to get behind the parade once the parade is going.